What's going on, everybody? Antonio, Eric, and Keenan with you again, the Dynasty Mafia podcast, joining you on this last Sunday in March. The Ides of March came and went, enjoying our March madness, marching along. I got nothing else to say for March, boys. How's your month been? What's going on?
It's going good. Definitely a better March than last year.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a better March than last year.
At work, the thing going around for it was 2 Fridays ago on the 9th. It was they wanted for all the web meetings to have a picture of what we were doing, like right before the actual the big quarantine on March 9th last year. So that was interesting. Everyone had pictures of big parties and everything like that. But
I think cool. We went to a concert, my wife and I, like a week before.
I was with you.
You were there at the concert.
It was Mumford.
Right. Oh, we all went there. It was Mumford and Sons, yeah. And looking back at that now, we're like, oh my gosh, how the hell did we even how do we even do that at that time? But obviously, we being in Buffalo over in New York, we didn't really know. And then of course, our county became one of the hottest in the whole freaking country. So I'm glad things are moving in the right direction. We mentioned March Madness. Glad we could have that. That was rough last March not to have, because with all this happening in the height, it kind of just got dropped right in the beginning.
And that's the first thing they took away from us.
That's what I'm saying. That catapulted all the sports really going downhill from there. So how's your bracket doing, man? It's obviously been an extremely wild one.
Have you guys been into it this year as much as past years in the past?
Ooh, I mean, I'd say I have been. I
don't like the whole schedule change. Let me start with that. I like the Thursday, Friday first round, or second round, if you want to call them the play-ins, and then the weekend, and then they come back on Thursday and Friday again,
right,
or the weekend or whatever. But I didn't like this Friday startup. I really didn't like that, and then games on Monday. It kind of threw my mojo off with watching basketball at work Thursday and Friday.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You work from home, so you're able to watch those games. I can't. So when I can get on a Saturday, Sunday, it's kind of cool. But then obviously Monday would kind of defeat that. But for me, I happen to be off. I'm usually off the Thursday, Friday. Or I try to take off work somehow, some way, so I can get some more games in. But I don't know. I think it just worked with me this year with my time off and everything. So
a lot of upsets.
There wasn't buzzer beaters.
That's the thing.
That's what killed it for me. Like there was the one buzzer beater in the beginning, which took one of the games to overtime, literally the first day. And other than that, there really was nothing. And I feel like we usually always had the buzzer beaters.
Blowouts.
A lot of blowouts, upsets galore. But see, the blowouts are good for the books. Well, bad for the books, good for the people betting the books.
Well, if you're betting on the right side of the blowout.
That's true. Well, the tournament was somewhat fortunate. Nothing crazy, but somewhat fortunate.
I'm currently in first place in my bracket, though, right now, in one of my 4 brackets that I did. But
I just who you got winning that one?
Baylor.
Okay, that's what I have. I just wound up doing one this year. Usually I do a couple.
Yeah,
but I just did one, and I'm in.
I knew everyone was going to go Gonzaga. That's why I was like, let me pick the number 2 team. And surprisingly, a lot more people picked other teams besides Baylor and Gonzaga. I thought there would be a bunch of Gonzagas, a handful of Baylors, and then a handful of other teams. But Florida State, Oklahoma State University was picked. Who else was there? Our buddy Alex, he picked. Who did he pick?
Oh, Creighton, maybe? No.
He picked. I don't even know. He picked Christian. He picked Christian.
Texas. Texas
Christian. Yeah. He looked smart for a couple of rounds. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he did. He was slamming the table for Abilene Christian and Oral Roberts. Good for him. But Oral I think Roberts, now he's in last place.
Yeah, he had them too. I made some good money on Oral Roberts, actually. Not gonna lie.
Hey, I'm sure a lot of people can at times. So, episode 34. we're here already, getting ready for the next season. We got free agency recap we're coming up with right now. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at Dynasty Mafia _FF. You can find me and Antonio Denisi FF, Eric at Biggie _FF, and Keenan at Keenan _716. Make sure you're checking out the website, dynastymafiapodcast.network. All right, boys, let's get into some news. So for the first time since 1978, the NFL is doing a schedule change. They haven't officially announced it yet, but ESPN released it. Bleacher Report had articles that they are confirming to be switching to 17 games for 2021. How are you feeling about that? I know Elvin Kamara was not the happiest of campers.
I wouldn't be happy. If you're a player, they just cut your salary this past year because of COVID, and now they expect you to play another game to make up for that. Are the players going to get extra bonuses on the side?
I was actually going to wonder the same thing, if that's going to be a big thing with them. But I don't know. I know a lot of the players don't like it. I don't know. But for fantasy, I guess it's an extra week for us.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. Now that you brought up fantasy,
now you better not have a Week 18 championship.
Yeah, don't have a Week 18 championship, but can you do 2-week games?
Don't even
think about it.
Do what?
No,
2-week games.
2-week like head-to-head games?
Yeah.
No.
Now you have
I was never
week 17 now. Hey.
I was never a fan of that. I know I started with ESPN when I did fantasy, and they defaulted to 2 weeks, and I left ESPN after my first year.
I think it'll be the same. We just bump it a week. It'll be no different. I think we'll bump the regular season a week.
With what? The fantasy?
Yeah,
or you just had more playoff teams.
You can do that for larger leagues. Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be awkward. I mean, I'll be honest, for the easy math of my 16-game schedule, I got to rework all the stats now and work on my divisions of 17. That's going to be the biggest adjustment, I think, for me. But I'm excited for more football. That's for sure. I'm excited for more football. So that's the biggest proponent I think we're going to go.
Are they taking a preseason game away?
I think they originally talked about going to 2.
Yeah, I think they're going down to 2.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it since they discussed that months ago. We'll have to get back into it, but I believe they're going to switch to the 2 preseason then. So, I mean, players were already going off a shortened off season. You saw how well it translated this year. I don't think we really saw too much except for maybe some of the rookies getting affected or players that were adjusting over to new teams, but I think we're going to be just fine. I don't think the 17th game is really going to hurt too much. I honestly don't.
I mean, if anything, it shows that they don't need as much time in training camp and OTAs. It's like the work from home for most of us. Why go back to the office when I've proved for last year that I could work from home and deliver. And they did most of their training camps at home and OTAs, virtual OTAs or whatever. I think that the wear and tear on the bodies would help that as well.
That's true. They got rid of a lot of the physical contact, and again, it seemed to work. But yeah, you're right. A lot of veterans already do practice on their own. For how long, right? Especially when they have to go to OTAs that are considered optional. But I think that's something that you're right that we're going to see moving on and moving forward. Eric, what are your thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I mean, I think as long as they have something, like I know this past year, like Keenan said, they proved that they didn't, but I don't think all of them proved it. I still think a lot of them definitely struggled. Like you saw, in my opinion, the running back struggled without a preseason. But I think they're still gonna have 2 games. They'll still have the regular preseason before that. I think. I mean, I would assume so. So I think it'll be all right.
It might not be as long. It might be instead of mid-July, they might come to August. Yeah, 2 weeks of training camp, 2 games, and start the season off.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of adjustments. It's going to be interesting to see when they officially do announce it. A couple more things. The DUI charges against Melvin Gordon were officially dropped.
Must be nice.
Now that Philip Lindsay, he's gone. He's heading over to Houston. Melvin Gordon kind of giving the reins. Just a quick hit on that. Do you think he can be an RB2? Can he produce now without the Lindsay attachment there?
Gordon, or Or who'd you mention?
Melvin Gordon. Yeah, for the Broncos this year. Even though they're probably going to ride with Drew Lock at least so far.
I mean, I don't see why he couldn't be. Just
Derek?
because, I mean, he's proved his whole career that he can be. The only problem is he's always had that extra, that running back to kind of take carries away from him that might have helped him as the season moved on. But he does have some injuries, so I don't know. I think he can, as long as he can stay healthy, I guess.
Well, Eric, speaking of injuries,
Odell
Beckham, he's on the right track in recovery from his October knee surgery. Do you think that we obviously don't know too much right now with the Browns are looking forward like they're going to keep OBJ? We saw trade speculations, trade rumors. Tom Brady was talking about wanting OBJ. First question, do you think OBJ is a Brown come 2021? And then second question, can he also hit a wide receiver 2 level?
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know, because I think the normal recovery time is 9 to 12 months, I believe, for his injury. It happened in November. Was it?
Week 8, I believe. Yes, right.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, once he's back and healthy, I'm sure, yeah, he can produce, I think, low end wide receiver 2 numbers. But I mean, if you're talking about what is he going to finish at the end of the year, I think he starts the year as a Brown, but I don't think he starts the year healthy. I think he's gonna miss some time in the beginning of the year, and he's gonna be one of those guys you're gonna want to, if you're a contender, you're gonna want to probably target him halfway through the year and hope he's healthy and get fully and good to go for the back half of the season.
Yeah, only had 23 catches, but he had 3 touchdowns. So it wasn't a good pace for him as far as catches and targets, but the touchdowns was a good pace for him only in the 7 games. Especially with Baker, but Baker turned it around the second half. We're going to see what the Browns can do there. One more note here. Terry McLaurin, my man, I love me some McLaurin.
Nah, I love him.
He said he played through 2 high ankle sprains last season. So we got to see him, what they do. Washington threw just north of 600 yards, so they were one of the higher throwing teams in the league, and you still saw Terry McLaurin put up 1,000 yards again. So Keenan, Mr. Love of Terry McLaurin, what is Terry McLaurin's ceiling now? We're going to talk about him a little later, but tell me what his ceiling is now that we have Ryan Fitzpatrick there, and we're assuming they're going to be throwing that ball as much as they did in 2020.
I hate to roll my eyes, but I was hoping they would get a better quarterback. I love Fitzy. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade from what they had last year with Alex Smith. He might be a little bit of an upgrade, but not that much. But I don't see his ceiling going any higher than until they get an actual good quarterback in there.
Wow.
I love him. I think he's great. I think he's definitely showed that he can play in the league, and he hasn't had a great quarterback ever in Washington. Can you imagine if they had someone? I'm trying to think of like a quarter. I don't know.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Yeah, something like that. Why am I echoing? Sorry, guys. But I just until they upgrade that quarterback position, I don't see his ceiling going any higher.
So where's his ceiling then for you right now? Is it a wide receiver 1? Does he hit that top 12?
No, I hate to say it. No, he doesn't, Anthony. It just I don't. Fitzy, he has those great games, and then he has those games where that the offense can't move the field. We've seen it here firsthand in Buffalo, and that's what scares me. They do have a good run game. They got a great defense. Get a quarterback in there, man. That team would be scary. I don't even want Fitzy as their RB1 or quarterback 1. You know who I want?
Oh, you want your Taylor Heineke?
Heineke, get him in there.
So McLaurin back-to-back 900 yards. I did misspeak earlier. He didn't get that 1,000 yards. But what he was able to do was get almost 1,200 yards with like I said, that quarterback play, as you just mentioned, of how horrible it was. You imagine now that he gets Ryan Fitzpatrick, who hyper-targets his wide receiver 1. We saw Devontae Parker's resurgence in his 5th year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that we saw Preston Williams do some good things. I think you're going to come in and you're going to see Terry McLaurin see 120, 130 targets. I think 80 to 90 catches like he did last year is really good, but that yards per catch can go up above that 13.
Speaking of Preston Williams, are you done? Are you off the Preston Williams train?
You know, it's really good. It's really funny you asked that because I was trying to buy Preston Williams a bit before the Dolphins made the moves they did, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I'm sure everybody, heard about their trade, but I really was convinced they were going wide receiver. Not that they can change that now. Number 6, they could possibly still get that wide receiver, but now that they bring in Will Fuller, they're falling in love. Well, not falling. They're putting at least everything around Tua, or showing that they're building around Tua. I wanted Preston Williams to be that thing, but based on last year's offense, if the volume isn't super high, you've already got Gesicki, then you're going to have Will Fuller, you're going to have Devontae Parker. You're looking at Preston Williams as probably being the 4th option.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that worries me. I would love it if they would trade him. I think they can maybe get some value, maybe get a 3rd or a 4th for him. That could be something worthwhile, especially still on his rookie deal. Let's move, though, to that trade I did just reference. We didn't get many big trades in free agency. We didn't get anything kind of exciting in free agency, especially with Kenny Golladay being the biggest wide receiver, not signing for a little bit. But we got a fantastic trade.
And Juju not going anywhere.
And Juju not going anywhere. We'll hit on that in a little bit. But this trade, so I was unfortunately working. I didn't see it for about 2 hours, so I got to come back to all the commotion. But the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers made a trade. The 49ers moved from number 12 up to number 3. And then the Dolphins go to number 12 while also receiving a 4th-round pick and a 2022 first. They then flipped that. They received a 2022 first and 3rd, as well as a 2023 first. My apologies. So because then the Dolphins flipped that one of those picks to the Eagles, who were at number 6. So now the Eagles dropped down to 12, and the Dolphins are hopping up to 6. And all of a sudden, you have San Francisco at 3, Miami at 6, and Philadelphia at 12. When, all three of the teams have quarterbacks right now. So my first question to you, who won this trade?
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I think they all won. They all got what they wanted. I mean, if San Fran really wants a quarterback, which clearly they do, they're going to go and get that quarterback. Miami, they have Tua, so they traded back. They can, do whatever they please. Maybe draft a wide receiver, maybe go offensive line, or maybe even trade back again and do something. And then the Eagles, they have Hurts, so they're not trying to get a quarterback, which everyone thought they were, which now it doesn't look like they're planning, unless they think somebody's going to fall. Yeah, but I think they're going to roll with Hurts and possibly draft a wide receiver as well. And I think they all won. It was a good trade all around.
I don't know who won, but I know who lost. Philadelphia lost. Philly lost. They moved down to 12. They say they're committed to Jalen Hurts, but they could have drafted Chase or Pitts to help Jalen Hurts. Now they moved down to 12. A lot of the top end draft prospects are going to be gone by 12, where they could have had Chase or Pitts to help, especially if they're trading Hurts. They could have just replaced it with another great tight end. And then they get a 2022 first round pick. Why just draft someone at 6? Did they have 6? What number did they have? 6? Yeah, they had 6.
They had 6, yeah.
They could have had Chase or Pitts. Probably the 2 best players in talent wise in the draft, offensively.
What I think is they traded down because they wanted obviously the value. They wanted to get some more action, some more picks. But I do think that they believe whomever they wanted at 6 is probably going to be there at 12. Either that, or we aren't done seeing some moves here. That could be like,
yeah. I was just about to say it's possible they move up if somebody falls past 6, like to maybe 7, 8, or 9. We could possibly see them moving up a few more spots with some of the ammo that they got.
I feel like Jalen Waddle, unfortunately, for Jalen Waddle, he's going to be a piece that I think they're really into. And that's where I think at 6, if they wanted Waddle, you know you were getting him at 6. So maybe move down a few more spots. Now San Francisco's moving up, so you know a quarterback's getting taken. They couldn't get up to number 2, so you know a quarterback's going. I don't think Atlanta's going wide receiver. Number 5 is Cincinnati, who's going lineman. So you're looking at worse, the second best wide receiver probably there. I mean, this is without other people trading up, but if they're trading up, it's for a quarterback.
Yeah, but here's my thing. They've used so many picks on later picks on drafting wide receivers, and they busted. They haven't hit on any of them. Maybe Jalen Reagor will hit this year. He battled some injuries last year. Why wouldn't you just grab Chase? He's almost a guarantee to be a hit.
Hey, I don't disagree with you. That's why, even Chase, maybe, Chase is probably, he's going to be one of the top 2 wide receivers. I know we can agree with that. But maybe they are seeing that as an arsenal to be able to move back up. I do think that would be kind of foolish. But maybe there's something else up their sleeve. Maybe they're going to move down even more. I mean, maybe there is another talent that they're seeing or they're not liking. We don't know truly what some of these GMs. We can sit here and say all day, Trevor Lawrence is number 1. We can assume that Jacksonville doesn't necessarily have to go that route. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that goes with every other team with all of their other players. We don't know what their scouts are seeing. We know what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But that's where I can go differently. And a perfect example, with the Dolphins, they moved all around. Obviously, it was a matter of half an hour, so we knew that these conversations were being had, of course, for the last few weeks, probably. Who knows? But with the Dolphins going backwards then forwards again, Penei Sewell, great lineman, is almost guaranteed to be there. Like you said, a top wide receiver, top tight end Kyle Pitts. What are the Dolphins thinking, Eric? What's going through your mind right now if you're the GM of the Dolphins?
Yeah, in my idea, obviously they're sticking with Tua, trading down. And I would only assume, they got. So I really thought they were going to think about going wide receiver, but I don't know. I mean, you got Parker, Gesicki, Fuller. Like you said, depending on what happens with Williams, they might stick with that, draft a running back later, and maybe in the round 2 or trade back a little. But if it's not a wide receiver, I would probably guess if they're drafting there, I would say offensive line. If Sewell's not going by then,
I think they take Pitts. That's my guess.
What about Cincinnati though? They could take Pitts at 5. That would be interesting.
It would be smart. You'd be smart.
The Pitts.
They need offensive line though. That's the only thing is if Cincinnati takes Sewell at 5, then who knows what they do.
Also, with Philly, sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you can go. You're good.
With Philly trading down, do you think it was a little too early to trade down? Timing wise, the draft is a month away, and
that's the only thing.
As you get closer to the draft, you would expect you'd get more value than the number 12, the number 123 in a first round next year.
That's the only thing where Antonio, I think he might be right, where we might not be done seeing moves here by them because maybe they were okay with it because they only had to drop to 12 and it wasn't farther down.
That's a far drop.
Well, it is, but
there's a lot of talent though.
That's a far drop.
According to trade charts that are out there, apparently it was an overpayment going from 12 to 6. But what was interesting was when Rappaport tweeted out that apparently the Eagles were looking to move up to 3 to get Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
right?
that was interesting.
And then he had to clarify that because the Eagles apparently didn't want that to get leaked. But listen, hear me out, right? If they're saying that they were going to go up to 3, but apparently the Dolphins' intel was like Zach Wilson's not going to be there at 3. Sorry. So Jets are either trading or they're going Zach Wilson, right? But don't you think San Francisco would have talked to the Jets first, right? Where Salah's old stomping grounds were over in San Francisco. And, hey, buddy, let's kick the tires. What are you doing at 2? Are you keeping Darnold? Can you help me out here? And all of a sudden they go up to 3. I just found that really interesting that San Francisco makes the move to 3. Miami's involved. Then all of a sudden the Eagles were trying to make a move too.
You think?
I think the Jets are going Wilson. I really do. I think Darnold's getting traded.
Or is Salah keeping Darnold and the 49ers know who the Jets are taking, so they only went up to 3 because they know Wilson will drop to them.
That's another point too. And of course, you're never going to show your cards, right? Especially this far from the draft, because it's only going to go up more as the hype grows. And one more thing, this trade happened during Zach Wilson's pro day.
Did you see that throw?
Like, well, I saw it after, right? Yeah, but I just wasn't that so weird that happened during his pro day. Like, do you think that's what they're like? All right, guys, we love him. All right, this is solidifying. That was also pretty interesting.
Side note, I think Zach Wilson's going to be better than Trevor Lawrence.
Oof, I like the hot take, man. I like the hot take.
You know me, I'm a big Zach Wilson fan. Getting that BYU jersey in the mail. I think they shipped it actually.
Let's focus on San Fran for a second. So they're making a move. They're obviously making a move for a quarterback. So they have to probably you'd have to assume they like the top 3, right? If they're assuming Wilson's gone at 2, even if he's not, you'd think they have to like a third quarterback. If you had to guess, who do you think that is? Do you think that's Trey Lance? Do you think that's Justin Fields? Do you think it's Mac Jones? You think it's other?
I think it's Lance.
I think it'd be.
I think Fields. I think Fields would be.
I think Fields is going to drop, and people are going to be surprised.
Yeah, I think he is too. I think he's going to go to Carolina, but I think if Fields ends up at San Francisco, his fantasy value is going to skyrocket because I know I would love to see him in a Shanahan offense. But I think it's
what about this with all the chatter going around the leagues and the GMs and coaches talking to each other? What do the Eagles think that Fields is going to fall to 12th? And maybe that's why they were okay dropping there.
I don't think he's going to go past Carolina, honestly.
Yeah, I think Carolina's going to do whatever they need to figure out their quarterback situation. Like whether it's draft or trading. Like I know I said Darnold to Washington. This was obviously prior to Fitz, but I think Darnold could get traded to Carolina if they really see fit. Like if they can get 8 in a package somewhere for Darnold, I could see the Jets definitely doing that, especially with having Fields at 2. They already got a wide receiver in Corey Davis, a wide receiver, not the wide receiver.
I really hope Zach Wilson isn't.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets take Sewell at 2, to be honest.
Man,
I've seen a few mocks of them taking him there too.
I've seen their shots of Kyle Pitts. Again, mocks are mocks, right? But
I know, yeah, they're just mocks.
A lot of people really love Kyle Pitts, man.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a specimen.
Speaking of Kyle Pitts, I told our buddy Wayne this past week that depending where he lands, he might be pick 1-1 for me. This coming up draft, depending where he lands.
There is a lot of speculation he can go top 5, and if he goes top 5, there's a good reason to have him 1-1 because whoever's picking a tight end like that, you're going to use him.
What if the report about Jimmy G is true, and then the 49ers grab Pitts? And you got Kittle and Pitts light it up.
I was going to say to you, next, Garoppolo's going to New England, isn't he? He's going to wind up a Patriot.
I mean, that would be –
Shanahan likes his 2 tight ends, but I really think Mac Jones –
Well, do we think that they're going to have whoever they draft sit behind Garoppolo for a year?
No, Garoppolo's gone. Garoppolo has a no-trade clause, and they can't really do much to him, I believe, with his contract until 2021's. Or no, I'm sorry, his no-trade clause is up after the 2021 season. So if you draft a rookie quarterback and then you play Garoppolo or sit Garoppolo, you're basically paying a starting quarterback anyway, whom you're investing in. But I think it could even be Mac Jones if they wind up taking Wilson at 2, the Jets, because Mac Jones comps to Kirk Cousins.
I just don't know why
Shanahan.
I just don't know why New England would trade for Jimmy G. They just signed Cam.
That's what they do. They signed Cam for $5 million.
It doesn't matter if it was $1 million or $2. You still committed to Cam. That's like a slap in the face to Cam. Then
I don't think they committed. Look how long it took Cam to sign again. I mean, I agree.
It's not a commitment. It's a 1-year deal for Cam. And Belichick has a history with Garoppolo.
But if Cam is signing there, he is signing because he thinks he's the starter there. I mean, at least for 1 more year.
Yeah,
Brian Hoyer.
I agree with you. I agree with you that it's going to cause turmoil in that organization. I agree with you there because Cam's going to cause a big fit and do his thing. But So I guess I agree with you there. But I definitely understand why the Patriots would do it.
Let's remember though, it's March 28th. He may not even be on the roster come September. They are not invested anything into Cam Newton right now, and I think that's a big telling sign that there could be some more to come. I don't think that Bill Belichick's going to go another year with throwing the ball less than 450 times. So you don't think Garoppolo's going to New England? All right. One more last question, and we'll wrap up the trade talk. Were any of these moves, specifically I'm talking to the Dolphins, were any of these moves more firepower to get Deshaun Watson?
You already know my take on that. No.
The Dolphins got an extra first
making
these moves.
They got 6 firsts in the next 3 years, but I think Watson still stays. I really do. I think pick 3 is more valued than pick 12 or 6, wherever they're drafting.
It is
because
6.
unless the Texans didn't think highly of Tua, I don't see them wanting to pick at 6 with the top 3 quarterback prospects probably gone by the pick.
This is the problem I have with Watson getting traded this offseason is if he's being traded, it's for a top pick, so somebody can draft a quarterback this year. Unless somebody trades him a quarterback, like Sam Darnold, for example, or somebody. But nobody is going to trade for him until this side stuff is over with, in my opinion. I mean, maybe they will, but are you really going to trade for somebody who has 20-something sexual assault charges or whatever it is against him and have all your fans, come at you with backlash the day after? A lot of you might love you, but then a lot might hate you.
I think you're not. I don't think a franchise is going to invest assets into a player that has this type of situation going on. It's not one. It's 22 of them, but there's reports that a lot of them are fake. You just don't know who to believe until the legal.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Yeah, that's what I'm not saying. He's guilty or anything. I'm just saying. I don't think a trade will happen until it's all resolved.
Which is not till next year or 2 years from now.
So the only thing is actually because it's a civil lawsuit, and again, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I've listened to CBS Sports podcast. Well, Brinson used to be a paralegal, but he was describing this as it's a civil lawsuit, so there's not going to be any guilty or not guilty going on. It's just going to be assumptions have paid out. It's going to be just what evidence is brought to the table, right? But the big thing about a civil lawsuit is once a civil lawsuit's brought to the table, you have 30 days to respond. Once that happens, you can have and request another 30 days for any type of response to happen. So there's potentially 60 days right now from when that first allegation took place, when the lawsuit was filed, that they have to have any type of response from this. And that's post-draft now. You're talking after the NFL draft is 60 days before we possibly even know anything on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
So if you're making a trade for him in Dynasty, you have to be trading for him with the implications that something's going to happen, that 2021 might not happen for Deshaun Watson, whether he's on Houston and not playing, whether he's on Houston and hates it, or whether he is in trouble from all of this information going on, which we won't know, like I said, for at least another 40 days. So with that being said, we can wrap up the conversation of Watson.
I have to say that was the first time I ever agreed with you for a whole 5-minute conversation that we just had.
I appreciate that.
I'm always disagreeing with about something.
Yeah, and again, it's unfortunately now it's in the legality hands when it comes to all of this, and that's where I think Houston Houston knows this, so that's.
So you're on the side of that Watson's not getting traded.
No, I still think Watson's getting traded.
Wow, you just said all that, and now you're.
No, he's agreeing with me to where it won't be until after all this is resolved.
I haven't
until he clears his name. Well,
I'm just saying. I still think that teams. I don't think a team really cares. As much as like I said, we don't need to dive.
I guess
I don't think an NFL team cares. Every it just takes one team who has the firepower to want Deshaun Watson, and they're going to say, I don't care if he's out for 4 games potentially or 2021. Or I don't care about what's going on. Like there is a team I could see making that move and giving up what they have to give up. Deshaun Watson's 26? He's already got that contract.
Yeah, I'll say one last thing that we can wrap it up. But I wanted because you said, do you think they're getting more firepower for him? And now they have 6 first-round picks. I don't
Miami,
think Miami. I don't think with what's going on, I don't think they needed to get more firepower if they are trading for him right now.
I don't think this lowers his value. I really don't.
If somebody's trading for him right now, it definitely does.
I want to say something before we move on from this. If Deshaun Watson's getting traded, I think it's before the NFL draft. I don't see a team trading Deshaun Watson to a team for future first, future whatever, and having Deshaun Watson play for them, and those picks are almost worthless if Deshaun Watson performs for them.
But
because they'll make the team better. You rather get the picks for this year. At least you know where you're drafting.
I mean, they signed Tyrod Taylor, and they signed their new starter Ryan Finley.
I saw that.
They're making moves, man.
Yeah.
They're making moves. All right, let's speaking of making moves, let's dive into the free agency talk right now, guys. All right, so the franchise tag, I just want to talk about real quick. Chris Godwin, we know he was tagged, so let's dive into the implications with him. He's hoping for a long-term deal with Tampa Bay. He signed his tag, I believe, on March 18th, a few days after he was. Antonio Brown still isn't signed yet. He's sitting out there. My first question is Antonio Brown's only landing spot, do you think, with the Bucs? And the follow-up question is, what's Chris Godwin's value with and without Antonio Brown, Keenan?
I thought that AB had a good chance to land in Baltimore until the Sammy Watkins trade. That's why I forgot the Sammy Watkins signing. I forgot who signed in Baltimore. I thought that was a good chance for two parties where it looks like Baltimore's having an issue of signing top wide receivers to play with Lamar because they run the ball and they don't pass enough. Now with Sammy signing there, I don't see them signing Brown. I think he stays in Tampa. I think Tampa's going to clear some cap space, or they're going to wait till AB lowers his value, his asking price.
So if AB does sign, where do you have Chris Godwin
this year? He's franchise tagged. I see him in Tampa.
No, I'm like, where do you have him value wise? Would you rather have Chris Godwin, or would you rather have Kenny Galladay now?
Kenny Galladay
with AB.
With either. Without
Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I think Kenny Galladay, if he stays healthy, he's a top 10 wide receiver in the league.
Oh, all right. I'm excited to talk to you then about some Kenny Galladay.
And we saw what wide receivers with Diggs and Hopkins signing last year or getting traded to new teams, and we saw what they can do with a young quarterback. So I think we're about to see another young quarterback take the next step, and with the help of his top wide receiver now.
That's fair.
If that makes sense.
That's fair. It does make sense. So Eric, you were pretty big into Mike Evans. Were you upset that Chris Godwin was tagged due to Mike Evans?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit upset, but I don't know if AB resigns. Sure they can clear some cap space, but I think they're gonna hope Tyler Johnson steps up. They got Scotty. Do they have Scotty Miller still? I believe.
Or no, they don't have Scotty Miller, but they have Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, they definitely have Tyler Johnson. But yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna step up. He showed he had potential last season. So, why spend I don't know how much AB would end up costing, maybe 7-8 million. Why spend 7-8 million on when you can have Tyler Johnson running out there and doing just exactly what he can? I mean, maybe not on the same type of level, but he definitely showed promise. So yeah, but I just think Mike Evans is going to be more of what it was last year. He's still going to be the end zone guy for Brady. I think out of all the wide receivers, they have the most chemistry, Brady and Evans. But yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been nice if he didn't stay there. Godwin, that is.
Yeah, my hope was that AB they were gonna keep him, let Godwin. Well, I thought Godwin was walking, and then Evans would really have that hyper target, especially in the red zone. They bring Gronk, let Howard do his thing. Yeah, so with Godwin coming back, I think it's going to be like they're like they said, they're running it back. So that's what Tampa Bay is going to do. I think it brings a lot of familiarity to everybody around there that you know what they're going to do this season. So I think you're going to see a almost mimicked year for fantasy for Evans and for Antonio Brown. You know, I said last year I thought Evans would have 15 touchdowns. Got a little bit close to that. I don't think he's going to get that high again, but double-digit touchdowns for Mike Evans is a given. Chris Godwin, I think he's going to have a really good shot at 90 catches and over almost 1,200 yards this year. So I think Godwin has a good shot to get to that borderline wide receiver one. Another borderline wide receiver one. We're going to
stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, yeah. Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson tagged by Chicago. He's originally said he wasn't going to sign it for a while. And I think after seeing how free agency went and he realized, wow, these guys aren't getting that money. You know, Kenny Galladay wasn't signing. People aren't thinking he's a wide receiver one. I'm just going to sign my tag, get my $18 million. We're going to see what happens in 2022. So my question for you, though, if Allen Robinson isn't in Chicago, is the grass really greener for him somewhere else?
It always is when you have a better quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say now it 100% is.
Yeah.
So the reason I ask this question is it can be a better quarterback all they want. Is the opportunity going to be the same? So the last 2 years, 2019, 2020, Allen Robinson is second in targets with 305, only behind DeAndre Hopkins. And he is third in catches with 200, only behind Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, but it all comes down to wins. If you're an NFL player at the end of the day, like those are real nice numbers and everything. But you want to win games too. You don't want to win 4, 5, 6 games every year.
But we're playing fantasy.
As fantasy, yes. You said is a grass greener for him on the other side.
That's where I'm saying I don't think it is for Allen Robinson. I think this is the best he's going to get.
Yeah, you want him to stay there as a fantasy owner. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Because they're chasing and he's getting 160 targets.
Yeah,
I just don't know. Like Keenan Allen gets a lot of those targets. Devontae Adams gets a lot of targets. Michael Thomas. So if you're telling me that Allen Robinson is going to go to another team where he'll be top 5 in targets still, even top 10, you know what? You could talk to me about Allen Robinson. I could have that. But that's
I don't think he's going to be top 5 in targets. I don't think so. I don't know
this year.
No, I don't know what the Bears are doing. They're going to be bad. They're going to be so bad. It's going to be a mix of them. One week it's going to be Andy Dalton. The next week it's going to be Nick Foles. They're not going to know who the starter is.
Sounds like last year.
Yeah, but last year, I think they should have just kept Trubisky. Trubisky's signed for $2.5 million.
Yeah,
but Andy Dalton for $10 million.
They needed the 5th-year option. That was the issue.
They couldn't sign him. They had
to do it last year, and they denied his 5th-year option.
But I'm saying, couldn't they have signed him to a new contract?
Yeah, but he would have wanted probably too much, I believe. But the issue is that he had 150 plus targets the last 2 years. You know, so that's why I'm saying like it's almost 10 a game, and I just wanted to pick your brain with that. You know, I don't think it'd be greener for him, but hopefully he can get the wide receiver one numbers. All right, quarterbacks. Not too much to talk about here with quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, we knew that signing was coming. We talked a while about him going to be with the Cowboys. We don't need to hit too much on that, except he got $95 million guaranteed with his 4-year, $160 million contract. Yeah, that's all we really need to talk about.
Man got paid.
Like yeah, we knew he was getting paid. We've talked prior about the impact. We saw what they did at the beginning of last season. It's going to go well for them. They need to do that. Now, Fitzpatrick, Keenan and I were kind of talking earlier. Eric, do you have any 2 cents? Fitzpatrick going to the Washington Redskins for 1 year, $10 million. What is your ideal situation now with Terry McLaurin, with Curtis Samuel coming over there? Curtis Samuel getting some big money, by the way, almost $13 million a year. So what's Terry McLaurin going to look like this year? Is there another 100? Is he going to get 160 targets? Can he get 10 targets a game with Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, honestly, I definitely think he potentially can. I think he 100 as long as Fitzpatrick is the quarterback for all 16 games. I definitely believe Terry McLaurin will be a wide receiver one this year. I mean this offense is just going to be completely different than what it was with Alex Smith. What Fitzpatrick can do compared to obviously what Smith was before this injury he had, compared to what, Ryan Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sorry, it's two different things. But right now, currently in their careers, it's just going to be completely different. There's not going to be 10 to 15 dump offs to J.D. McKissick. However many of those targets are going to be going to the wide receivers instead. So I definitely think it's going to be a much better year for McLaurin this year.
Yeah, Keenan, yeah.
I don't know.
You're talking about quarterback play. We just talked about Allen Robinson, and McLaurin he averaged almost 16 yards per catch his rookie year, and that was with an even worse quarterback than he had last year. And
Fitzpatrick's going to come out with fire, especially after being benched for Tua and how upset he was about that and how bad he wants to win, and seeing how far this team went with Alex Smith. I don't know. I think they're going to have a good year. I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender or anything like that, but I think they're going to make the playoffs. And
he's going to get benched anyways. He should be used to it by now. He gets benched every year. I don't know why. I don't know why he was so upset. Like, it hasn't happened in the first 15 years of his career. I guess you guys are giving Fitzy way too much credit than I am. I could definitely see it happening where McLaurin has a better year than he has the last 2 years.
I guess it's not necessarily credit. It's just the difference between he's not afraid to sling the ball, whereas Alex Smith was just dumping it off to J.D. McKissick, like I said, 10 to 15 times a game. yeah. Like Fitzy's not afraid to sling the ball, and he's gonna throw it to his wide receivers.
If you guys are saying that McLaurin's gonna get all these yards, there goes Gibson's value.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, because I think Gibson took a big hit.
I mean, that's a red flag if you guys think that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Antonio should trade Gibson to me for cheap now.
I don't think he took a big hit, because I think there was how many. I don't have the number. Does anybody, Keenan, look it up quick? What the number is? How many targets McKissick got?
McKissick got a lot. We talked about this in the past, where he almost doubled from what Gibson had, but
so I don't think it affects Gibson. 110. There's not going to be 110 dump offs to the running back this year.
Well, then you just proved our point.
No, but I mean, I was talking about McKissick. That was 100. That was targets for McKissick.
Yeah.
But Gibson wasn't getting it. Gibson can be just fine. 110 targets that Gibson wasn't getting anyways, and he was just fine.
Well, how many targets did Gibson have?
Going to be better,
Anthony.
Sorry, what did you say?
How many targets did Gibson have, or receptions?
He had 44 targets, but he had 170 carries. So he had 214 touches, Eric.
So for example, if you give an extra, I'm assuming there's going to be more passing, so you're going to have even more targets.
I think what the problem is going to be is Alex Smith is going to run. Alex Smith ran a slower paced offense. They ran the ball. Yeah. They had the defense, right? And they still threw the ball over 600 times. So that's why I think Fitzpatrick's going to come in. They're going to sling the ball. They're going to have a faster offense, and they're going to let their defense do work. Now, the hope is you're going to need Washington to be winning the game to have Gibson getting the ball. 214 touches is great. I love the talent of Gibson. I just don't know now if he can see 50 catches. I was excited for that coming into this, but I don't think he can get 50 catches now, and that's where you're going to rely on him to hopefully get at least 200 to 225 carries to say Antonio Gibson's an RB1.
The thing for me is I think
his value is going right now. That's my issue.
I think the touchdowns is what's gonna get him there.
He's very good at that.
Yeah, with a better offense, like I said, with Fitzy coming in, that's why I don't think his value's hurt. I think he's gonna be probably similar in the passing game. Probably get similar numbers in the passing game. He's gonna be better on the ground this year, like just with the offense being better, and then he's gonna get those touchdowns. So. I'm a fan of him. I don't think his value lowered really at all.
All right, fair. Excuse me. All right, so we talked about Andy Dalton in Chicago. We talked about Cam Newton. Jameis Winston, guys. New Orleans seems to potentially have made their decision as who could be starting. At least we hope it's not still going to be Taysom Hill.
For a love of God.
Especially after Taysom Hill's amazingly 4-year extension for $140 million. But about...
Yeah, what was that all about?
It's all just numbers, fake numbers for later. Gotta love it. So, Jameis Winston, do you love this from Michael Thomas? Is this the best case scenario you could hope for?
I mean, if Wilson wasn't getting traded, yeah. But he needs to be the starter there, and I think you guys saw the video where Drew Brees, after his final game, told Winston in the silence, "This is your team now." So I think this was already planned where Winston was going to be the quarterback for the Saints. And for Michael Thomas' sake, actually no, because Michael Thomas played pretty well with Hill. Hill just kept targeting him.
Yeah, but he didn't do. I mean,
he played pretty. Yeah, he played pretty good. I think it's definitely best case scenario for Michael Thomas to have Jameis Winston in there.
Absolutely,
but what I worry about is if Jameis Winston's turning the ball over too much, are they just going to end up rolling out with Hill? Like if it's 8 games in and Winston already has 15 interceptions, I mean,
you might as well just keep rolling with Winston at that point.
But see, the thing is, people got to remember, man. Bruce Arians, that's what he does. He has people throw interceptions. Like Brady is obviously the exception, but Bruce Arians causes it's the high rate, it's the air attack offense. Like that's what they do. So Jameis is a good thing for MT. All right, good news. Trubisky, you mentioned, Eric. He signed as a backup with the Bills. It was a great signing. Get someone who is basically what Josh Allen is, and he got him for $2.5 million. That wraps up our quarterbacks. Let's talk about the running backs.
You don't want to talk about Ryan Finley?
Oh, we talked about him. He's great. He's the next starter for Houston. Aaron Jones got re-signed by Green Bay, which, my heart of hearts was hoping that the Bills would get him, which, pipe dreams, of course. But 4-year, $48 million, 13 guaranteed. Now, the only thing I want to say with Aaron Jones for Dynasty, this kind of secures him now for the next few years. And in my opinion, it's probably the best case scenario for Aaron Jones. So, Eric, why don't you tell me a minute how Aaron Jones is impacted in your mind, and is he still going to be the same Aaron Jones that we've been seeing now? Is everything just status quo as it was?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm actually hoping it's going to be a little bit better. It seemed like last year, honestly, some games they just didn't play him to lower his price. Like, it just felt like some of the games, I don't know what it was. Obviously, he had that one game with his sunglasses and they pulled him or whatever. And
twice.
Yeah, it was weird. So I'm hoping he actually gets even more touches and they get him more involved since they just paid him. It only makes more sense. I know they still have oh wow, I can't think of his name.
AJ Dillon.
Yeah, thank you. AJ Dillon. But yeah, I'm not worried about my Aaron Jones shares at all now.
Are you worried about your AJ Dillon shares?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Interesting.
It's just crazy. They spent a second round. That's what I don't know. That's what confuses me is because why
are you confused? They spent a first so they could fire up their quarterback by getting a quarterback, and then they get a second with a running back in the second, so they can pay their starting running back even more money next year.
They had to fire up Aaron.
Perfect plan.
But I'm confused as in I don't know. I don't know if Aaron Jones is going to get more work or if they try to do some kind of.
No, it was absolutely foolish.
Split.
They should have let him go. And I was looking at his contract earlier. He's got a $7.4 million bonus due on the third day of 2023 of the new league year. So they can save $6.5 million by cutting him that time. So I'm very confident Aaron Jones is only a Packer for a maximum of 2 years, if not only 1 year, and they move him. But I think your AJ Dillon shares, you can get rid of him now if you like, and then go back next year and try to buy him back, maybe. But all right, that's Aaron Jones. Chris Carson, another player ending back where his original team was. Nothing that we expected. Again, free agency was not that great this year, guys. Not too much craziness going on. But he got a 2-year, what wound up being a 2-year, $10 million, just over $10 million. The third year is voidable. But what do you? Again, is this a best case scenario for that player? Is that why all these players are doing it?
That's definitely best case scenario for Chris Carson. Obviously the Seahawks love to run the ball. So
if you think about the final 4 teams in the playoffs for the Bills, they had no cap room to sign a running back. Tampa Bay, they have Fournette now that he resigned, and they have Ronald Jones. Green Bay, they re-signed Aaron Jones, and who was the other? Kansas City. They spent the first round pick on a running back last year. I don't think there was really a market for running backs for teams that had a chance to win the Super Bowl. So I think that's where I think maybe Carson wanted to go somewhere to win, and Aaron Jones, I'm going to win in Green Bay.
Yeah, I thought maybe Atlanta would have been enticing for him.
They got what's his face, Big Baby.
Who? Ito Smith?
No.
No, Burley's a free agent.
No. They just signed Davis, Carolina running back.
They did sign Mike Davis, didn't they? That's right. Look at that. Yeah. You forgot to add that in the notes.
I didn't forget that. But and you know, Mike Davis is from Atlanta, so he was pretty pumped to sign.
Who signed him?
Mike Davis with Atlanta.
Yeah. We had Mike Davis in Atlanta, Carlos Hyde bringing some familiarity in Jacksonville. He was with Urban Meyer in Ohio State. Keenan, I know you're not worried for James Robinson. I'm not anymore.
I'm not anymore.
A little worried for James
my God.
Robinson.
Okay, a month ago you pretty much were telling me to trade Robinson. Trade him. They're gonna sign Aaron Jones. They're gonna sign Aaron Jones.
No, I think that there's still a chance Urban Meyer could draft a running back. And, they didn't sign one, but they got Carlos Hyde, who's familiar with the offense, familiar with the system. He could take 6 to 8 touches a game, which I know we say, oh, that's crazy. But if you think they're running the ball like they did last year, you got to check yourself again, because Lawrence is going to come in and they're going to be slinging it 550 plus.
Yeah, they're going to be slinging it to Robinson out of the backfield.
I hope he continues to throw the running back spot. I do. But more to come with Carlos Hyde. Just watch out. I
think we got something else to talk about. I think we should talk about the Kenyon Drake signing.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it a little bit in our group chat. I think
he got a starting job.
Pretty much at this point. Go ahead.
2 year $11 million fully guaranteed with the Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't think they know what the hell they're doing over there.
What do you mean? He's the starter. Why wouldn't he be the starter? Who else is going to start?
I mean, I hope you're kidding.
Come on, man. Josh Jacobs is. Oh man, no, I'm kidding. But what do you seriously? What's going on with the Raiders?
Eric.
I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't know.
That was
I will say
the most shocking signing.
This is I was surprised. Like when I was doing my running back rankings, like I almost didn't have Jacobs in my top 15. Like I don't know. I liked him a lot last year. I bought a couple shares, but then I was watching more of him. I was watching some more Raiders games, and he's nothing special. There was times where it was like he had open lanes and he had open field and he just like fell forward. I don't know. It was like he was like afraid to get hit. I don't know what it was. I mean, it may have just been the games I was watching. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Raiders don't think he's anything special either, and they needed somebody else in there. But that's a lot of money to pay a backup running back.
I don't think he'll be
exactly.
Yeah.
It's fully guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying. I don't.
It's worse than the Kareem Chubb situation in Cleveland, because you have Kenyon Drake come in who can catch the ball. Josh Jacobs isn't given that opportunity really. We saw him get a little more last year, but they're clearly showing they want to scale that back. The thing is, though, while I'm not totally worried. One, he already wasn't getting a lot of catches, so if he can maintain 20 catches, he can still get a borderline RB1 with some higher touchdowns. Now, he's never ran the ball very well. His yards per carry is not very high. But what he does do is he shares the ball with Devontae Booker. He shared with DeAndre Washington. He shared with a few players.
Booker, you're right. Booker was there.
Booker last year. But, he was sharing with those guys. Booker had almost 100 carries. That's 6 a game. We start doing the 17, math. That's just over 6 a game still, a little under 6 a game. But you have him. Then you're also throwing him the ball. Then they had Lynn Bowden, who they were getting in running back at times as well, and then they were moving him back and forth. And then they also, I can't remember who their fourth was that they had. But the point is, I think they like to run the ball a lot. They run the ball 35 times a game. So my hope is that Jacobs can still get almost 20 touches. More to come with that for sure.
I think Jacobs going to get moved, or they're not going to re-sign him after his contract expires.
Yeah, that's the other thing, because that'll go into Well, this will be his third year now, so the one more year until Kenyon Drake's up.
Yeah.
And if he performs, then they can sign Kenyon Drake. I know he'll be like 28, but he doesn't really have the body of a 28-year-old. All right, so Mark Ingram went to Houston. Philip Lindsay went to Houston. Any you guys grabbing them at all? Anything? Any value you see in them?
No.
No.
I think Philip Lindsay is interesting.
I mean, they got like 5 running backs now. They have David, they have David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, and Mark Ingram. So 3 running backs.
He's the youngest
monster. 3-headed monster. Fournette re-signed in Tampa Bay. I thought he might go to New England, but if not, I felt Tampa Bay was probably the next best thing. Now it hurts my Ronald Jones shares.
I thought Buffalo was a good spot for him.
I agree. Thought Buffalo was a good spot. Hurts my Ronald Jones shares, so I guess you can't be too hyped about Ronald Jones anyway. All right, let's slide over to the wide receivers. So we talked about Allen Robinson. We talked about Chris Godwin. Kenny Golladay, Keenan, coming in hot. Top 10 wide receiver with the New York Giants, huh? 4 years, $72 million, $40 million guaranteed. They're paying the man.
Usually, when it comes to fantasy, usually I'm very cautious with especially wide receivers switching teams and drafting them. But seeing what Diggs and Hopkins did last year with their new teams, I'm not nervous at all. Someone that's as talented as Kenny Golladay, like I said earlier in the show, I can see him being a top 10 wide receiver in the league. And as long as he can stay healthy, he missed a lot of time. I'm trying to think what his injuries were last season and the following year. I can't think of them right now. But now they're going to have a healthy Barkley, fix that old line. I'm interested in what Daniel Dimes can do now with this offense.
Yeah, they definitely need to upgrade the offensive line. Yeah. Obviously, they got Kenny G. I am worried about Darius Slayton now because you know how much I loved him last year, but with Kenny G coming in, it's going to be tough for him to really, take another step forward, unfortunately. But
I think you should be worried with Slayton. I don't think he performed as the wide receiver one. Most weeks he disappeared. He had a couple early good weeks, and the
first week he came out on fire.
Yeah, I remember you were really excited about that.
I turned down some offers too after that, which I'm looking back and regretting. But it's.
I thought once Barkley went down, I was like, all right, we're going to see Slayton get more targets in the pass game. They're not going to run the ball as much, but I don't know what happened at all there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit as well worried about Slayton, but do you think Golladay can get 160 targets? Do you think that's the offense they're going to want to do? Jason Garrett, kind of did that with Amari. We saw him hyper target the wide receiver one. Can Golladay get that?
If Daniel Jones can take the next step and they can get him some more protection, but with a healthy Barkley,
that's the key right there. You said it right there. Healthy Barkley. I don't think he gets that many targets, but I still think he produces.
Yeah, he's never gotten more than 75 catches in his career, but he's been able to get double-digit touchdowns. He led the league a couple years ago. So that's what I really think they got Kenny Golladay for, was for that red zone, because they dropped so many balls last year. Evan Ingram was doing horrible. Sterling Shepard, he just can't seem to stay healthy. So I agree with you. I think Kenny Golladay can be a top 10 wide receiver, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Juju Smith-Schuster. Eric, you and I making a trade.
Oh my God, who won the trade now?
Me still.
We made, Eric still. We made a nice trade. I gave him Deontay Johnson and Juju for Michael Thomas.
I know you might see your buzzer beater now.
We were both convinced Juju was not going to be a Steeler, though. And the longer the time went on, I still didn't think he was going to be a Steeler. It kind of came. We obviously came out of nowhere. Re-signed with them for 1 year, $8 million. But I think it was the same situation, like I said with Robinson. He saw that. The grass wasn't greener for him right now. He apparently had offers from the Ravens. They run the ball a lot. Had offers from the Chiefs. They're not. He'll be like the fourth option. So he's going to try and come back. He's going to try and perform. Try and do really well so he can get his money in 2022. So Keenan, is Juju Smith-Schuster the number one in Pittsburgh, or are we still talking Deontay? You know what? Never mind. Is Juju even the number 2?
I don't know. I want to say yes, but that whole offense kind of struggled towards the end of that season. Johnson had his drop problem. Who's the rookie? Claypool. Yeah, Claypool. He kind of disappeared some games. But he had awesome games where he scored 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns at one game. But he disappeared towards the end. I think it's going to be an offense. Whoever has that hot hand that game. I think you're not going to see one wide receiver 1. I think you might have 3 wide receiver 1s depending on what game, who you're playing, who they're playing, and the game plan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Juju he only had 4 games with double digits in the first 10 where they had that undefeated streak, or 11 games. But they were also throwing the ball so quick. Juju had what? Just double checking. I'm sorry. He had 97, almost 100 catches, but he couldn't get more than 8.6 yards per catch. So that's horrible. Obviously, Deontay Johnson had over 100 catches. Same thing, low yards per catch. They just were throwing the ball so quick to protect Ben and not let him get hit that they finally realized, wow, defenses are catching up, and then we're screwed. We can't throw the ball downfield. All we have is Claypool. We haven't been doing it all season. Deontay Johnson wasn't able to create separation, and Juju's in the slot. They kind of screwed themselves, and we obviously all watched them unfold. I think another offseason, a new coordinator, I think they're going to fix what they did, and I think Juju might be more of a focal point. The guy can take it 90-plus yards for a touchdown. There's not many players in the NFL that can do that, and they need to open it up for him more. I think they're going to utilize Claypool a lot more, but not necessarily for targets. And like I said, he had almost 100 catches and 9 touchdowns. So if he could even get close to the 120 targets he saw again, but increases that yards per catch, you're really only needing to get 80, 90 catches to start having him sniff, mid wide receiver 2 numbers, which is going to be way higher than that draft value, at least that he currently is at.
And is Big Ben going to stay healthy, or is he going to die again come week 12?
You're seeing him now more than a year removed from that injury. So a year and a half now. So I don't know. I think the farther we get from it, the more comfortable I feel. Obviously, yeah, he's older, so other injuries could come about, as we could say about anybody, right? But I feel better about that elbow. All right. T.Y. Hilton signed back with Indy.
Are you watching this game? You might get your buzzer beater.
Yeah, UCLA, Alabama.
Let's get out my bracket. I need UCLA to win bad.
I don't mind it. If Alabama loses, it will help, but I just need Baylor to win that for me.
Here we go.
T.Y. Hilton signed back with Indy, 1 year, $8 million.
For the tie. He got it! He got it!
Dude, you're ahead of me.
He tied it.
I'm not. They haven't even shot yet.
Oh my God, they tied it.
I'm muting you, man. Get out of here. Can't even killing me, this kid. So Will Fuller signed in Miami. That's what I want to talk about. We talked about Tua a little bit earlier. So Eric, Will Fuller, what kind of impact is he going to have? We saw Tua have a really hard time getting the ball down the field. His yards per attempt was extremely low. His ADOT was extremely low, and he looked very rough in the 6 games he played. There's reasons that obviously Will Fuller comes in. He led the league in deep targets. I think he had almost 20. You know that Deshaun Watson loves throwing the ball, and we're going to see Tua start doing that. So what is your thoughts on Will Fuller, Eric? Is he have a shot at wide receiver 2?
Yeah, like you said, I think they're going to bring him in for the
shot.
It was a center. It was a center.
Wow. Sorry, Eric.
No, you're fine. But yeah. I think they're bringing him in exactly for that reason, and you got me all messed up with talking about the shot now.
I can't believe
shot, huh?
Too.
That was a nice shot.
Yeah, Alabama, big center. All right.
You know his name?
No, hell no.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it all comes down to health. If he stays healthy for a full 16 games, I think definitely you can put up some wide receiver 2 numbers.
He averages like a touchdown a game when he's healthy, Will Fuller.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna be doing that with Tua. Like I said, I think they're possibly gonna draft one of the top running backs, depending on how the draft plays out.
I hope not.
You say running back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on Gaskins. I know it's.
I sold my.
Oh, no? You don't like Gaskins?
No, I sold him because of that reason. I can see them drafting a running back.
Okay.
I traded him for Lamar Jackson in the Lamar Jackson deal.
I think it'd be smart with how Tua played. If they plan to roll out with him for,
I love Gaskins.
See how he is next couple of years. I think they need to bring in a big time running back and step that up and on top of Fuller commit. But like I said, back to Fuller, if he can stay healthy for a full 16 games, yeah, I absolutely think he can be a wide receiver too.
That's fair, man. That's fair. We didn't talk about Curtis Samuel too much with the signing of Washington when we were talking about McLaurin. Keenan, I know you weren't too big on Curtis Samuel before. How about now? Well, I guess the whole world. I really like Curtis Samuel personally. I bought big on him 2 years ago.
Oh, we didn't even mention this when we were talking about Scary Terry. It's going to take targets away. It's going to take targets away from him. You guys are saying how McKissick is not going to be there and Gibson's going to get all these targets or whatnot. But Curtis Samuel's going to take some targets away from him down the field. And we've seen Ryan Fitzpatrick fall in love with his wide receiver twos. Where remember a couple of years ago where we thought Preston Williams was a wide receiver one there, and then all of a sudden Parker had a breakout year.
Yeah, I think Curtis Samuel going to a system he knows is extremely helpful. I projected he would land in Washington. It wasn't too crazy because, like we said, Ron Rivera knows him. So that familiarity is really going to help. He played with college. He played with Terry McLaurin in college, so that's going to be even better. And he's going to be an extension of the run game. He's a gadget guy. He can run the ball. He's actually led the league, I think, in rushing the last 2 years. I could be wrong. He's up there with Robert Woods. But I think Curtis Samuel is going to be a perfect slot guy for Ryan Fitzpatrick. He will take targets. Not from McLaurin, though. He's going to take him from the Cam Sims. He's going to take him from the McKissicks. He's going to take them probably from the...
You would hope.
Well, yes,
I told you what,
the Logan Thomases. I mean, McLaurin's getting his 150.
Listen, don't you dare take targets away from Logan Thomas.
I don't want to do it. And Fitzpatrick likes his tight ends. But I don't know if he likes someone that's almost as old as he is. That's we'll see about that one.
Is he that old?
He's like 31.
Logan Thomas?
Don't forget, we drafted him. The Bills drafted him as a quarterback.
I remember that.
As a tight end. That was already like 8 years ago. Crazy, I know. Marvin Jones Jr. landing in Jacksonville. That he tweeted that a while ago before free agency, man, that he was probably going there. So that seems like a really good fit. There was rumors of the DJ Chark getting traded to Baltimore, which set us off for a couple hours.
I was excited about that.
Yeah, that
we had a trade. We had a trade in our league happened like hours before, or a couple days before, or weeks actually. I go from hours to weeks, but where Chark was involved in, I'm like, oh man, who won the trade now? And obviously, doesn't matter.
Yeah, didn't matter. I almost made a trade, to be honest. I was at work when I saw that, and I almost made a trade, and I didn't see that it was kind of false and whatnot. I should have vetted it, obviously. I'm glad nothing happened. But yeah, I think he's a big play man. He was very sporadic with the Lions as far as being able to show up for 100 yards and a touchdown, but you knew that he was good to get those kind of games. He had his 3 touchdown game every year, right?
Yeah.
He's got a couple of those, so he's big boom. But he really helps DJ Chark extend the field. I think it's really, really, really good for Laviska Shenault. You already know I love him, and I think it's just going to help him tenfold, especially with spreading in between the 20s. That's where he's going to get a lot of the work. He may not get a lot in the red zone anymore, as he wasn't already, but I love Laviska Shenault for potentially getting 80 catches, over 1,000 yards.
What are you trading for Shenault right now?
You're not getting anything, probably a late first. You're probably not getting anything lower than that. I know I'm not giving him anything higher, anything less than a mid first.
Yeah. I was thinking,
but I loved him last year.
He could be a good buy low candidate too. Right now, if you have the right owner that has him right now, you could talk him. You got Jones, Chark.
Robinson's going to be getting catches.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to tie Lawrence to the name, the second that Lawrence is a Jaguar, everybody's value is going up. It's easy to say that right now, but the second you actually tie that 101, that first pick to Trevor Lawrence, it becomes so real. No matter what his value was prior to that, it's going to go up.
UCLA up by 5.
Yes. AJ Green, Eric, signing with Arizona. It really, really makes my Christian Kirk shares cry heavily. But do you think he's the wide receiver 2 there? Do you think Fitzgerald gets pushed out? Do you think AJ Green has a chance for 100 targets and to be relevant? Do you care, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, like another kind of like Fuller, if he stays healthy for a full 16, I think he definitely could make somewhat of an impact. Definitely pushes Kirk way down. Pretty much, I would say makes Kirk. They could both be irrelevant because they both take so much away from each other. But we'll see. But AJ Green, he was getting open. He looked good last year, and a lot of the targets when you're watching were just uncatchable that he had. Like he had a game where he had 12 targets, but he only had 3 catches. But when you look, 7 of those targets were 10 feet over his head. And not saying Joe Burrow's bad or anything, but it was just, it was his rookie year. But yeah, I think he can still come in and make a little bit of an impact.
Yeah, Kirk and Fitzgerald combined had, they averaged almost 13 or 14 targets a game. So if you bring AJ Green in and he can even get half of those, you're looking at 100 targets. And I think AJ Green is going to have a lot of success in the red zone. I really do. I think that's where they're deciding now. We're not running the ball anymore in the red zone. We're throwing to one of our 2 big guys. And I think they're going to be a very, very vertical offense. You're going to see a lot of deep passing. So I think that might actually wind up being a good value for AJ Green. I think he could be a strong wide receiver 3.
If he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. Some dart throws. Sammy Watkins signing in Baltimore. John Ross with the Giants. Emmanuel Sanders with the Bills. John Brown with the Raiders. Deshaun Jackson just went to the Rams. Josh Reynolds in Tennessee. And Dante Moncrief might be the wide receiver 2 in Houston.
Who's wide receiver 1? Oh, Cook.
Yeah, it's Brandon Cooks. Anybody I listed there intriguing to you for dynasty purposes? Can any of them hit a wide receiver 3 status, do you think, with their new places?
Not anyone there for dynasty purposes, but if we're going to talk about redraft for a second, Emmanuel Sanders with that Bills offense, if they can do what they did this past season, that's probably the only one that I would target in a redraft. Dynasty wise, I can care less.
Well, let me ask you quick that you mentioned Emmanuel Sanders. Is he the wide receiver 2?
Yes, for now.
So what happens with Gabriel Davis?
Davis. Well,
I think he still does what he did last year. He's a wide receiver 3, 4.
So all that
I think in target wise, I think Cole Beasley will still be the second option. Or how many targets did Beasley have last year? He had the second most,
like 120.
Yeah, he was second to Diggs.
Yeah, he was second. I think he's target wise he's going to be second, but I still think Davis is going to be lining up in the 3 wide receiver sets. It'll be Beasley, Davis, and Diggs. But I think Sanders, he's going to make an impact though. I think when I looked at the contract, I was so confused as to why they did it after seeing John Brown's new contract. But I want to say we only have Sanders for like $4 million.
No, it makes
the hit will wind up being like 4. I think it's like a $9 million contract.
Yeah, it made sense after everything.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I told you, I'm not.
No, I would have rather just kept Brown.
I think it supplants. I would just rather have drafted a wide receiver or something. I think it supplants or sign him for less. Right. It supplants Gabriel Davis's breakout. I think we saw a lot of good things from Davis, but if Sanders is going to come in and, I don't know. I'm hoping it was veteran presence.
But to speak on that, I think John Brown could hit wide receiver 3 numbers in Oakland, in Vegas.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Nelson Aguilar did really well. And I think even though they're bringing in John Brown for low money, it's what they've been doing. They brought in Aguilar for low money. They brought in.
If you're a strong contender and you got like deep rosters and you like deep starting lineups, throw a third rounder out for John Brown. Let's see if you can snag him for that or something like that. And
Maybe it would toss like 2 fourths or something. Who knows?
Yeah. See what you can do. See what you can do with later picks, but you'll 100% be happy with it.
Yeah, I like that John Brown pick. I also really like Josh Reynolds in Tennessee. I'm actually kind of a big fan of that. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 there. I know the wide receiver 2 doesn't get too much, but if he can see 80 targets, I mean, he might be able to do some damage with some good wide receiver 3 numbers in 750 yards, maybe 6 touchdown range. So he could be someone that could break out if they decide to throw the ball a little more. We'll see if it was
That's
truly
the problem,
Arthur
though.
Smith.
That's the
It's
problem.
a big problem. I mean, AJ Brown's a big winner for me because getting rid of Corey Davis, getting rid of Jonnu Smith, the amount of vacated targets that are there for him are going to be insane, even though they don't throw the ball a lot. But if AJ Brown can even get 10 to 15% more targets than he was already getting, that production is going to jump into the top 5 wide receiver. So I do think Josh Reynolds is a good buy low for sure. He could be impactful.
Before you move on from the dart throws, Sammy Watkins going to Baltimore. I know you're a big Hollywood fan. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to be honest. I really like this move for Baltimore. They needed to do something. For fantasy, I think I like it because they didn't do anything. So it's best that they at least grab somebody. I understand it's Sammy who's been inconsistent. But if you don't pay attention to Sammy, he can still hurt you. Don't forget 3 touchdowns last year, week 1. I mean, we've seen it happen. It's not consistent, but we've seen it happen. So I think that hopefully this will help Hollywood. I'm still a big Hollywood fan, like you said. And to be honest, I think it really helps Mark Andrews. It's just another big weapon because Miles Boykin isn't fooling anybody. Willie Snead didn't do anything. So I think it's going to be really nice for Mark Andrews the most.
That's a good point.
I don't think there's anything else. Deshaun Jackson, you think you care at all for the Stafford?
No.
Like is he your Marvin Jones version in Detroit now for Stafford?
No. It just stopped.
All right, that's fair for me. We were just talking about Jonnu Smith. Let's talk about the tight ends. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry decided, hey, let's be best friends. Let's be bros. Let's go hang out in New England and sign with the same damn team. Why not? we both got a lot of money.
How about that?
Let's do it. So Jonnu Smith, 4-year, $50 million. Hunter Henry, 3-year, $37.5 million.
Both 25 guaranteed.
Both 25 guaranteed. I was reading Robert Kraft spent $172 million to buy the Patriots back in '94, and spent over $180 million in the first week of free agency.
Did you see?
I thought that.
Did you see with Tom Brady the amount of money they spent on free agency via free agency, and how much they spent this past year? They almost matched how much they spent on free agency in one day than when they had Tom Brady for the last 10 years. One day. I tweeted about it. Life without Brady, I guess.
Yeah, man. He moves to another city. I mean, we just wait till after he wins again in Tampa Bay, and then he's gonna go like to Seattle or something. Just watch, and then wins the championship there. He'll do it.
Who?
Jackass. Tom Brady.
Whoa.
All right, Jonnu, Hunter Henry, they both signed in New England. We talked earlier. Cam Newton's their quarterback for now. Got $5 million, Cam Newton. So I don't think they're really dedicated and invested in Cam Newton. They certainly could trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. They certainly could move up to draft a quarterback or figure something out. Do you care about Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith? Like, did this completely ruin their value? Who's the best one of the two of them?
Go ahead.
I don't think it completely ruins their value because they paid them a lot of money. They're going to use them. The Patriots always use their tight ends. They still don't have a wide receiver. They need to throw the ball to somebody. I think that's going to be their plan. They got their two tight ends. They're good to go now. I'm sure they're going to probably draft a wide receiver or something. If they bring Garoppolo in, that's even better for them, in my opinion. And I think in the end, providing he stays healthy, Hunter Henry is gonna be the top dog there.
Hunter Henry, okay. I forgot to mention Nelson Aguilar signed there too for almost $13 million for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I got the numbers. In the prior 10 years, the Patriots spent $300 million in free agency. In the first 3 hours of 2021, they spent $146 million.
Jeez.
But if they do trade for Garoppolo, it's going to be kind of like what the 49ers were, where he had great tight end and no wide receivers before this past year, really.
I don't see a way that they go into week 1 with Cam Newton as their only option is competing for the starting job. I find it impossible that he is going to go through another year of hell like that. We said this last year. And, I said this. They got Cam Newton because they're going to run the ball, they're going to make it boring, and they're going to do as much as they can to not look like an absolute joke.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. But that's what he was going to do. They weren't going to just sit down and lose, 15 games. They were going to play tough defense and run the ball. Now they're getting other pieces to show they're going to still play tough defense, and they're going to have better options at throwing the ball. But I'm telling you, Cam Newton's not going to be the answer come week 1. They're going to have another quarterback under center.
You want to put a little side bet on that?
Let's do it. 6-pack bet there.
I'll bet you that it's either Mac Jones or I bet you it's either a rookie or Cam Newton starting week 1. I bet you it's not anyone else. You could have the field.
I'll take that. Rookie or Cam. I'll take that bet. I'm taking that bet.
It's going to be – watch it be Stidham.
Rob Gronkowski signed back with Tampa Bay. We knew that was the only place he was going. Kyle Rudolph with the Giants, 2 years, $14 million. Is Evan Ingram's writing on the wall for the Giants?
I don't know.
I'd say so, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I don't really care about either. I'm not really. Yeah, I'm not excited about either.
All right.
Yeah, I think Kyle Rudolph. It's just for depth purposes. I don't think
it's to help. I think it's red zone. I think it's depth. I think it's to we have a safety net. Ingram dropped like 3 red zone passes and more. The whole team made drops. I don't know. I think it's going to be nice just for Daniel Jones. That's why they're going all out. They're doing the Josh Allen effect with Daniel Jones. And they're going to try to make it work. And Gettleman's fighting for his job, to be honest. He could really screw them over in the next few years if they don't do anything. I didn't say anything. Jared Cook, 1 year, $6 million.
That's the one I'm in. Or no, I'm more interested about the
Gerald Everett. Yeah, Gerald Everett in Seattle. That could be big. He's a great blocker. Still only 26 years old.
Big Higbee guy over here, Eric, can finally say that. If he's not tight end 1, you could finally say that you were wrong about Higbee after this year.
Yeah, I mean, he could be Stafford's hot.
Yeah, I'm hoping, man. I was 1 year too early.
Yeah.
All right, so how about Jared Cook though? So 1 year, $6 million. He's got Herbert. Hunter Henry's gone. Are you going to look at Jared Cook as potentially a top 6 tight end?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean. Only for this year and not long term. I'm not really excited. I don't think he'll end up signing there long term or anything like that. But yeah, he's gonna be really good as long as they don't bring somebody else in. Providing they trade up and trade for and draft Pitts there.
Well, I was gonna ask about Donald Parham. He's a big 6'8" man that they. Essentially, they brought somebody else in and still have Parham, so Parham's not the only one. But they do like to use 2 tight ends. So I'm intrigued to see that too. But I think Cook's a good candidate for a lot of yards again. Maybe not a lot of touchdowns, but I can see 500-600 yards for him. He'll be a good fit. And like you said, Keenan Everett, they've never really used their tight end a lot in Seattle. I've always fell for the Will Disleys, the Jacob Hollisters. It's never worked out. So maybe Gerald Everett will be the same, but at least he'll help them out with the run game. All right, scraps. A couple guys left: Todd Gurley, Antonio Brown, Golden Tate, Trey Burton, still in free agency. Nothing too much really floating around for them with the scraps, like I said.
What the hell am I going to do with Todd Gurley?
You have to ride him to the ground, unfortunately.
Yeah,
honestly, trade him for a 4th. Like, I mean, Gibson
you want him?
You want him? I might want that 4th.
Exactly. I tried last year. He had those couple good games early on. He was getting a touchdown almost every game before he got hurt. And
I traded him for the.
I tried
the 110 and a 3rd.
110
last offseason.
It was before the season.
110 still
before the rookie draft last year.
After he signed with Atlanta.
Yeah, it was after he signed with
Who the
Atlanta.
hell gave you 110? Because I was asking for seconds.
I think it was Scoots.
It was your league. I don't know. I gotta go back and look. I forgot.
Listen, I tried. All I wanted was a second, and these idiots would not give me a second. And I guess they were right.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my one Superflex league, he was a really good RB2 for me for at least the first 10 weeks. There's a reason I went downhill after. But
yeah.
All right. So winners and losers, guys. We're wrapping up the free agency talk. We went through each of the positions. Why don't you give me a couple winners, Eric?
Patriots. I guess they got their double tight ends. Yeah, I think that obviously helps them. They're definitely a winner. I thought getting one is good, but they got the cream of the crop. They got both of them. Um,
Is that your
um,
fantasy winner, or is that just a team winner you're giving it to?
just a free. Oh, I thought they were just free agency winner, but
Oh yeah, no. How about for fantasy purposes? Who's a big fantasy winner? I'm sorry. I think I said
um,
free agency, didn't I?
maybe it's all right. So I guess I would definitely say Aaron Jones. Um, he's a huge winner in my opinion because if he ended up going somewhere else, who knows where it was going to be, what the situation was going to be. He's at least staying there. He should be producing, top 10 numbers for at least the next 2 years. Um, Obviously, AJ Brown, huge winner, getting rid of Jonnu Smith, uh, uh, Corey Davis. So yeah, I mean those are definitely two huge winners. I don't know who else do you got?
I got Daniel Dimes.
Yeah,
I got
for
him.
sure.
I still think that's a great signing. I know you guys are a little. Well, Anthony, I think you were kind of a little with the Kenny Galladay signing there. I think we've seen young quarterbacks take the next step with great wide receivers, and we saw it here firsthand. I think that's going to help. Obviously, with Daniel Jones being a good NFL wide receiver and a good fantasy player for everyone. My other winner is who's the running back for Arizona Cardinals right now?
Oh, Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right.
we didn't even speak about him. Good
Um,
call.
you get rid of Kenyon Drake, who had a great year after he was traded from Miami to Arizona, and everyone kind of forgot about him. And now that Kenyon Drake is there, he's wide receiver or running back one. And I think if you're a fantasy owner of him, you're very pleased. You pretty much got a free running back.
I have him and Mike
So far,
Davis in the league.
Yeah, so far,
I'm
right
pretty
now, yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah, they could draft a running back, and obviously, if we did the show again, I'd be like, all right, he's not the winner, he's not a winner anymore. But I thought that was pretty good for him, or for fantasy owners of him, of
that's true.
his.
That's true. And I said before, big winner of mine is Terry McLaurin. I really think he got a massive win with getting Curtis Samuel, getting that familiarity of another wide receiver who can help him out, getting Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's going to be a massive improvement from the last 2 years of what he's had to deal with. I think McLaurin is going to take that next step. Currently, my wide receiver 8. That might go. He might go a little higher. I don't know. I'm pretty into a potential for 100 catch, 1,400 yard, and 10 touchdown year for Terry McLaurin. I'm going to be really bullish on him. Another big winner for me, Tua. They're showing the investment in him, man. They are building around Tua. They moved back to gain more picks, then moved back up to be able to make any decision they almost want to, in my mind, besides quarterback. So I think so far, if they sit at 6, they have almost any chances at wide receiver. Like you said, Keenan, they have the number 6, number 18. They have some later picks. They could still get a running back. They have Gesicki. They got Preston Williams. They got Will Fuller. They are going all in on Tua. So I'm very excited for Tua.
Did you say Deshaun Watson's going to trade it there earlier?
I said there's a shot. I was wondering if those pieces Miami's getting maybe could be for Deshaun Watson, and it very much could be. And this could all slap me in the face, but
It's going to slap you.
Could slap me. How about a loser, Eric?
Two of some of the biggest losers that I have, unfortunately, are Allen Robinson and David Montgomery. I just don't like Andy Dalton in this. I don't know. I don't like their situation now at quarterback, unless somehow they add somebody else. I don't know, but I just think this offense is going to be bad, worse than it was already. So yeah, I don't think Allen Robinson. Like I said, if you want to do a little 6-pack bet here, I don't think Allen Robinson is going to be in the top 5 in targets either.
I don't think I'm ready to do a 6-pack bet on that. I was just more so giving statistical evidence of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Dalton's going to be the guy that could throw it 150 plus times to him. We'll have to see what they still do. But big loser for me. Josh Allen. Gonna be honest, he's a big loser for me. The Bills didn't.
Why?
Do
They lost
anything.
Brown.
The Bills did nothing.
I don't know.
To make his surroundings any better for the issues that they already had. And I'm just afraid.
What issues do they have in offense?
They couldn't run the ball.
Okay.
The second, if you and they played a bunch of zone. If Josh Allen got zone defense, that was extremely helpful. Or that wasn't helpful. I'm sorry. And then he had to hopefully get a lot of man-to-man coverage. But I'm hoping maybe Emmanuel Sanders is going to come in because he's one of the best zone wide receivers there. So maybe that is to help him. But at the same point, you're bringing in Emmanuel Sanders. I don't like that. You got rid of John Brown to apparently have somebody else pay him only $4 million to take the top off, which I was fine with getting rid of John Brown. I expected it. But you got no tight end. You got no running back.
Well, they did sign a tight end.
They did sign Jacob Hollister, yes, who has familiarity with Josh Allen from Wyoming. So maybe that's your help. And they brought back everybody with the offensive line, which was already somewhat questionable. So in my mind, Josh Allen didn't really get.
You got to remember that whole offensive line wasn't healthy. Not even one game of the season.
They weren't, but he had a career year, Keenan, as we all know.
Yeah.
But he had a fantastic year. Can you expect 45 total touchdowns again from him?
Yeah,
I really hope so. I'm hoping that's what you're going to see again. But I really expect a little bit more firepower to come from the Bills to show, hey, we've already surrounded Allen. Let's already add some more pieces, like trade for Zach Ertz. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what they're doing, as well as maybe a few other teams out there, is the rumor going around is that they're waiting for the Eagles to actually cut Ertz, and then
they want way too much for Ertz. He would have been traded right now.
And on top of that, they're not done. Yeah, I think we could maybe even draft another running back this year, potentially, depending how it plays out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm happy with.
They signed Burita too. Matt Burita was one of the best players in the league.
But I think it also speaks more to what they think of Gabe Davis as well. I don't think getting Sanders at all speaks anything to Davis. I think they're just more of a, the John Brown replacement. But yeah, I think Davis steps up and he still has Beasley and Diggs and
maybe running the ball. Not to go on a Bills tangent here, but real quick, maybe running the ball is more of a offensive coordinator issue, where the run isn't established early, and I know you're laughing, but
no, I agree with you. We've had this conversation so many times.
Maybe the offense coordinator needs to call more run plays to start the game to establish the run and get the offensive line in rhythm.
I hear you.
Not to make this podcast a Buffalo Bills podcast.
My last loser, and then we'll wrap everything up, is the Denver Broncos. I feel so bad for Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Melvin Gordon, Noah Fant. Like, they need to figure that out. They need to get rid of Drew Lock. He is not the answer for you. And I have so much invested in all of your freaking Bronco players in my dynasty leagues that you need to get a quarterback. I don't want to say I trust John Elway to get the right quarterback. I trust him to get a quarterback for Denver. He does a good job at replacing the quarterbacks, but they need to get the right one for them, or at least an improvement. So
Peyton Manning's not going to be a free agent again.
Yeah, he's not coming out of retirement now. There's Drew Brees.
Tom Brady might be.
Tom Brady's done. Get him out of here.
Man. Oh man,
so sick of him.
Well, that wraps up.
Do you want my losers?
I don't care about your losers. I was just kidding. I'm not wrapping anything up. All right, who are your losers?
I really don't have any.
Well, there you go.
I had one, but I slipped my mind. Oh, Jonnu Smith. I thought, the day he signed, I'm like, okay, New England needs a tight end, all right. The day Hunter Henry signs, Jonnu Smith value just completely plummeted for me. So, and I think we mentioned this other player was Jacobs, running back for the Raiders, with the signing of Kenyon Drake. I don't think that helps him at all. So I think if you're a fantasy owner of him, I think you're a little nervous, and you should probably trade him to me for a third-round pick.
Yeah, we hit a lot on Josh Jacobs earlier, so we don't need to hit that dead horse anymore. But yeah, that wraps up the episode. A lot of information, a lot of free agency stuff to go through. A lot of brackets getting busted watching this NCAA tournament over here. But no, I'm glad that we could get all this done. I'm glad we could have the free agency talk. So anything else you guys want to do to wrap this up?
I got nothing.
Got nothing? Nada? Works for me, guys.
You got anything?
No,
I think
we left it on the table right now.
I think talking for an hour and 40 minutes is enough, right?
Yeah, it was. That was quick though. That was quick. I mean, I know it was not going to be quick for all listeners, but that was a quick hour and 40. So I apologize for all of that. But without further ado, guys, thanks for listening. Make sure you check us out on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. Make sure to follow our handles. You can check them all out here in the corners. That's all I got for you. Mafia out.